young John Bosco lies unconscious on the floor. Blood is pouring forth from his mouth, his ears, and his nose. Everyone thinks he's dead. Until The Miracles and Prophecies of St. John Bosco, a project of America Needs Fatima. I'm your host, Adrian Fonseca. Subscribe for new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Welcome to The Miracles and Prophecies of St. John Bosco. I'm Adrian Fonseca. These videos exist to share the timeless wisdom from St. John Bosco that can inspire you to grow closer to Christ and Our Lady. In today's story, you'll see how one violent accident should have ended Don Bosco's mission before it even started. But Divine Providence had other plans. And before we get going, I want you to know that you can have a daily traditional Catholic Mass offered for your intentions. So stay tuned, because later in the video I'll tell you about our monthly Promoter program, where the Holy Sacrifice of the Mass is offered for you every day. But first, let me take you back to Don Bosco's seminary days. During his years at the seminary, Don Bosco formed friendships that would shape his entire priesthood. But one friend stood above all the others: Luigi Comollo. Luigi was different. He was a young man of rare purity and sweetness. His love for prayer and the sacraments, combined with his gentle spirit, made him seem like an angel among men. Whenever they were together, they didn't talk about worldly things. They talked about their shared mission, a life completely given to God and the salvation of souls. Their bond was so deep that Don Bosco kept no secrets from Luigi, and Luigi kept no secrets from him. How many of us have friendships that push us closer to heaven instead of pulling us towards comfort or, God forbid, even sin? But Don Bosco didn't just build deep friendships with people he saw every day. Even friends at different schools would write him letters, sharing their suggestions and their struggles. For example, one letter in January of 1836 is especially revealing. Let me read it to you. Dearest friend, there's nothing new to tell you, because being confined within these four narrow walls makes it impossible to hear or see anything that could ease the constant boredom and frustration I feel. To put it simply, I live between martyrs and lightning. Our professors persecute us relentlessly. The logic professor constantly talks about punishments and has already disciplined several students. The geometry professor is no better. He seems to want to strike us with lightning every day. Between the two, we are scolded hundreds of times, and they keep reminding us that many of us will fail by the end of the year. They even mock us, saying they have never had such poor students before, and wonder aloud whether we dropped from the moon or were born yesterday. You can imagine how hard it is to endure such treatment day after day. I send greetings from Burzio, and I ask you to greet all our friends who are with you. From my heart, I remain your affectionate servant and friend, A.A. Now, Don Bosco kept this letter in particular for years, long after destroying many others. Why? Because it reminded him that young people need encouragement, not constant criticism. They need schools to be places of hope, not misery. Now, here's a side of Don Bosco that most people never hear about, and that's his physical strength. One day during study hour, the key to the hall went missing, and the door was solid. The lock was immovable. The students tried everything, using picks, straining with all their might. Nothing worked. The prefect finally called for a locksmith. That's when Don Bosco stepped forward. "Do you want me to open it?" The prefect scoffed. "You? That's impossible." "If you give me permission," he replied, "I'll open it with one blow." They laughed at him. Don Bosco raised his fist and smashed the door open with one staggering punch. The seminarian stood in stunned silence. What kind of strength was this? This frail seminarian, who had already suffered multiple illnesses, should not have had this kind of power. But time and again, Don Bosco's life was marked by these surprising, almost a supernatural burst of energy. And yet this same strength nearly killed him. Now, I'm going to pause for just a second because something just occurred to me. You're watching this video because you care about saints like Don Bosco, right? You want to learn from their lives, grow in your faith, maybe even experience some of the same graces that they had. But here's my question for you. When you're away from this channel, when you're at work, when you're dealing with life struggles, how do you stay connected to that grace? Well, Don Bosco relied on the prayer and support of his friends. He had Luigi praying for him. He had these deep friendships sustaining him spiritually. And honestly, I think that's why he survived so many close calls with death, because he was being held up by prayer. And you can have that same kind of spiritual support. When you become a monthly promoter of St. John Bosco, you receive something incredibly precious. A daily, traditional Catholic Mass is offered for your intentions and your loved ones every single day of the year. I certainly feel better knowing that my name and intentions are being prayed for daily, and that there's a Catholic priest out there offering up the holy sacrifice of the Mass for me. So click the link in the description box down below and sign up to become a monthly promoter of St. John Bosco. You'll also receive daily rosaries, a bi-monthly subscription to Crusade Magazine, beautiful images of Our Lady Help of Christians and St. John Bosco, and Don Bosco's own writings. So pause the video right now and click the link below. I'll be right here when you get back. Now, let me tell you what happened next about a violent collision. One evening, Don Bosco was hurrying through a dark corridor. At the same moment, another seminarian was running in the opposite direction. He collided head-on with another seminarian, running in the opposite direction. The crash was catastrophic. Both fell unconscious instantly. When their friends found them, blood was streaming from their ears, their noses, and their mouths. They looked dead. Hours passed before Don Bosco began to stir. His companion remained motionless until dawn. And when he finally awoke, his mind seemed broken, scrambled beyond repair. Everyone feared the worst. But by evening, against all odds, the fog lifted. Both seminarians recovered fully. No lasting injuries, no permanent scars, just another brush with death that Don Bosco would survive by the grace of God. The boy who laughed with his friends, cherished their letters, broke down doors with his fist, and lay unconscious with blood dripping from his body. This was the same man who would one day found the Salesians and save countless souls. If God protected Don Bosco through accident after accident because he had plans for him, what does that say about your life? Maybe you've been through near misses, close call moments, moments where you should have been destroyed, but you somehow weren't. Have you ever wondered if God has plans for you too? Plans that require you to still be here? You might not be called to found a religious order or to perform miracles. Or maybe you are. Either way, God doesn't let us survive trials for no reason. Every wound, every accident, every friendship, every setback, nothing is wasted when it's offered to God. Have you ever experienced a moment where you felt God's protection in your life? A near miss that made you wonder if He has specific plans for you? Oh, before you go, I want to recommend another video that perfectly complements today's message. It's called Providence Will Take Care of It, the day Don Bosco risked everything. In that video, you'll witness Don Bosco's radical trust in action. Don Bosco arrives in Turin utterly penniless. No money, no job, no bed for the night. And when a stunned friend presses him on how he'll make it, Don Bosco replies, Providence will take care of it. If anxiety about tomorrow ever grips you, this story will light the way to true surrender, letting go of the reins and placing your deepest fears in God's capable hands. So click on the video on your screen right now. St. John Bosco, pray for us. May God bless you, and Mary Immaculate keep you under her mantle. God love you.